Hello, I'm Ronnie Eldridge. Welcome to Eldridge and Company. Today's guest is my husband, Jimmy Breslin. I asked him to come with me because I've missed reading his columns, and I know actually, that he must be bursting with things to say. Do you find it frustrating that you don't have a almost daily source for your opinions?
No, not frustrating at all, and I could not muster the word no, so I'm here.
Oh, you mean when I asked you?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, anyway.
No,
I hear your opinions every day.
Yeah.
More so than I used to.
No, but they're very good opinions.
I know. You know what I missed about your columns is that you're not busy all day. You're writing books, and you finish earlier, and you're tired, and so then you come and talk to me more than you used to, and sometimes I want that time.
Yeah.
You wrote a book in 1975 called How the Good Guys Finally Won.
Yeah.
And it was about the Nixon impeachment.
Yeah.
You see, I mean, what do you think today?
The similarities are there. Once they get the votes, they would look to impeachment. That felt like it. I mean, once you impeach Bill Clinton for philandering, you impeach the president for philandering, then you're looking to have them get you on any charge they could find.
So Nixon's charge was what? The basic charge in the impeachment?
The basic charge was the one that didn't show. It was they had a committee formed to change the amendment that would allow Nixon to have another term.
But that wasn't the charge in the actual
that was
impeachment.
what had them working in the back room.
That's why they did it.
I'll tell you that. No, but that was the one that somebody like John Doerr and those people were talking about incessantly. He's a dangerous fellow.
And so, I mean, why isn't there more of an outcry for impeachment now?
It's a national Alzheimer's. Absolutely.
What does that mean?
You can't get people excited about anything. They go out of the house, they're lucky they know enough to return.
But why do you say Alzheimer's? I mean, I know that came from
dead.
a friend of yours.
No, it came from everybody.
It implies that people have forgotten, but there are a lot of younger people now. I mean, they don't seem to get aroused.
No, the whole house is sleeping.
Yeah.
That's all, everybody in it. There is no anger, none whatsoever. Humor is cheap. It passes for a remark on American Idol. That's turned into the great show in the country. Unbelievable. I mean, semi-pro singers, and it's running the country.
But it's still a fun show to watch.
I guess it is a fun show. I don't think semi-pros are fun. If I'm not going to watch television, let me have a professional
You do.
singer.
I mean, you always say these things, but you really do, because you love amateur people. When you talk to people, for instance, you like a person who's living in a housing project who says something from his heart. He's an amateur.
Yeah, but they're
as
real.
opposed to a politician who said it over and over again, and then you hate them.
They're real. The people on American Idol aren't real.
All right, let's
So
not.
I don't want to
talk about
Forget
American
about it. I don't want to know
During
about
the Nixon impeachment, the main character in your book was Tip O'Neill.
Yeah, he's gone.
Right. Is there anybody with that kind of spirit in the Congress today?
In the Congress today, I don't know.
Or in politics today?
I don't know. I'd go down there and spend time to look, which I'm tempted to do at the end of whatever work I'm doing here. I think it would be fascinating to see anybody with the verve to come forward. The trouble is, whenever you find one, something happens out of their past. We had a guy, Durbin, from Illinois. That was our hot choice to cause trouble for Roberts, who was coming on.
Yeah, in the Supreme Court nomination.
Supreme Court, and he was coming on as a Catholic. Oh, I mean, Roman Catholic. And Durbin, we spoke to him on the phone.
Roberts was coming on.
Roberts, and Durbin had the right
He also was a
something to attack him. The key was...
This is on abortion. That was the key,
no,
but that was the major concern with Roberts, wasn't it?
I don't
Roe
care
v.
what
Wade.
Our concern was that he was a professional Catholic. You know?
Right.
And we'd say, we thought we should ask him, if you say you're a devout Catholic, does that mean that you're a devout Catholic, that you would listen to the Pope in Rome ahead of the Constitution of the United States, to which you're sworn?
That's a good question.
Oh, it's a good question. You bet it is. So we had Cuomo was in on it. We called Mario Cuomo, my friend. We called Durbin, and oh boy, he got all excited. We said, good, one guy at least is going to put this fellow on the spot, and we'll have, maybe he'll go nowhere, but we'll have that one moment looking at him when he got hit. And then Durbin calls back. He didn't want to do it because in his past, he had a bad vote, he felt, on abortion. He probably voted against abortion. And he thought that they would bring that up and make him look bad. Yeah, what are you worried about? The word change seems to elude all these people. I watch that television on Sunday once in a while. The guy talks a lot.
I'm not going to fill it in. Go on. Yeah.
Slapped us. They play a film of what you said.
Yeah, and then they try to
10
catch
years
it.
ago, then they try and catch it. Nobody sits there and says, well, I changed.
But nobody
like
they didn't used to try to catch you. I mean, I remember, who was the guy on Meet the Press, Spivak or something?
Yeah.
They used to really ask serious questions, it seems to me. Now it's a game of catching.
And the dope that sits there and allows them to do it. Now, Mike Quill once...
I was going to say, you tell us a wonderful story
You
about
had a transit strike here in New York. And Quill was the leader of Local 100 of the Transport Workers Union. They were on strike. And he said they would not go back without a 4-day week. And that was a new venture in American living, and the TWU was going to show the way. We're going to have a 4-day week, nothing else. Now, he went all through, and then at midnight they have their settlement, New Year's Eve, and they said to him, Mr. Quill, what happened to the 4-day week? He never mentioned it. What happened to the 4-day week? He said, common sense. Next question. I mean, that ended. That's how you handle those things. These people don't. They live. And I was there with Durbin with theirs.
Let's jump from Washington to, since you mentioned the TWU. What did you make of that strike? And what struck me the most was the lack of sympathy from the public.
Oh,
Were you surprised about that?
I disagree.
All right.
There was sympathy in Brooklyn where the people who ride the trains live.
Right.
Maybe there wasn't much sympathy here on the West Side or with the Calico who owns $200,000 cars. I mean, what kind of an operation do you have when you have a fellow like Calico running it? The man is mentally insufficient for a big job. And what do they do? Why do they have him in there?
Well,
who put him in there? I don't even know who put him in there.
I think it was Pataki.
Pataki. Well, then Pataki's lacking.
Well, some people say that, but
well, I'm sorry. In Brooklyn, where the transport workers live,
and Queens,
they had more support than anybody else.
They still haven't settled the strike, and it seems to be forgotten. I mean, the papers were opposed to it.
It's only the
mayor was opposed.
Forget the paper. The newspapers are conservative.
We'll come to them. The mayor.
The mayor.
That was not a good statement that he made about the strike.
He comes up with a tin heart a lot of times, Bloomberg.
Sometimes
and he ought to be aware of that too.
Yeah. But it's still not settled, and the MTA refuses to move. I mean,
well, why should they move? They got a fellow like Calico there. They don't know how to move. This is the key to there is no city without the subways, none whatsoever.
So
and they're dawdling on settling, on knowing where they're going.
So you talk about a different era when you had Tip O'Neill. You know, it was a little after the Kennedys, but it was people who displayed more passion, I think, than gets displayed today. And, I mean, it's the same thing here in the city, isn't it? There's very little passion about things. Decisions are made supposedly dispassionately. I mean, Bloomberg is a dispassionate person, I think.
At the same time, you did have, I mean, at last that Peter Rodino in Newark, I mean, his obituary was America.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Here in the city, who have you got? I don't know what's going on.
Or just even in Washington. I mean, we were talking about during the impeachment proceedings in the and then the Senate. Who was it? Senator Irvin.
Yeah, but that's the best for this time was when they impeached Clinton, and the guy Livingston, the Speaker of the House. Everybody forgets him. He was the Republican Speaker of the House of Representatives. Got up and he said that Clinton should resign. So everybody from New York, all the rabble was screaming, "You'll resign, you'll resign."
And he resigned.
And he did right there. I says, "What the hell is this?" That they'd found the fourth woman in a motel with him that he'd been paying for. So I call him Motel Livingston. He was
so is this scandal comes, we have all this stuff, people who are so important suddenly resign, and then they get forgotten.
The CIA guy resigned because of broads. No, don't tell me it was terror. They said it was a turf dispute. And
Right.
he was out of there in a half hour
How do
or
you,
something.
do you really know that?
What? Broads?
Yeah.
Of course. What else was there? He's going to the hotel room to play poker with prostitutes.
Are you saying that you're making it up, or is that?
No,
have
what
you heard
happened?
this?
What did he leave for? Because he
See, I can never tell with you.
What do you mean? That's happened. What did he
You're
leave?
kidding
Because
me.
he's on good behavior? I'm not
No, he
fooling.
was on bad behavior. They didn't like him.
And
they
the
said.
other guy just quit too, another guy today.
Yeah.
What's his name?
The deputy. or
Yeah,
something,
he
the
left.
third
He went to the
assistant.
parties too.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it's a lot of parties. Who was the guy who was the head of Ways and Means in the House?
Oh, but that's
who,
all gone.
Who was
I
that?
mean,
Who was?
Wilbur Mills.
Yes, that was a great scandal.
Yes.
But that was the first, wasn't it? I mean, but Wilbur Mills got away with it for years before somebody really said that he was a heavy drinker.
Yeah, the girl, the woman.
He was
I don't
dancing
know,
with somebody in the
somebody.
fountain.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so we
Yeah,
can
but
talk
that's
about
the
gossip,
personal
but I want to
behavior
talk.
you could take.
Why can you
could-
take?
You could take that. You cannot take indolence or not doing anything. That you can take. Silence is your enemy from government.
So you
there's
think
no
that
energy.
the Congress is too silent?
Well, what do they do?
I don't know.
You got a war in Vietnam. Let me ask you something. How much
Iraq.
in the papers? Iraq. Vietnam, to me, it's the same. It sticks in your mind. How many people got killed in Iraq in the last 5 days? United States military people.
Over 30, 40.
Something in the last
Yeah.
5 days. Did you see it in the papers?
No.
Almost hardly anything. You hear it on television? Nothing. And you're telling me there's no national Alzheimer's? You can't get people excited over the loss of young people?
Well, I don't think I'm too close to Alzheimer's, so I don't think it's Alzheimer's. It's something else, but I don't think it's that.
The reactions are the
Jimmy,
same.
what about the newspaper business? What's happening
It's
there?
dead.
Why do you say that? And don't say it. Do you say it with terrible feelings in your
No, I
heart?
don't care. I've spent my life in it, but it's dead.
How can you not care?
It's a dead issue.
You have
'Cause I
to
don't-
care.
No. If they, you've got aliens running the New York Post and the New York Daily News. One editor is from England and the other editor is from Australia. They can't possibly have any interest in the city of New York, and their newspapers reflect it. They're trying to go, these two papers, we'll just start with them, are trying to go with gossip. I say you could throw all the gossip out and put news in, and you're liable to have a chance to succeed. As it's now going, neither of them, they're both slipping their circulations. The Daily News has lost a ton of ad pages, because it's frivolous. You don't need the paper. You read it in a minute and 3 seconds. The same with the Post.
How much is the Daily News? It's more than the Post, isn't it?
Yeah, the Post is
It's 25 cents.
The Post is going on a quarter because Murdoch has money, but it could say you could get it down to a dime. They're still not going to buy this thing. It's all gossip. For example, now she's a lovely woman that does gossip, does a column for them.
Liz Smith.
No.
Oh,
she's
Cindy
irrelevant.
Adams.
Cindy Adams had a column. There's an electronic glitch, and the column reappeared the next day. And it ran in the paper, the exact same column. And I know the people that handled phone calls, they had told me they didn't get one phone call. Nobody notices. One is the same as the other. It's like a Danielle Steele novel. You can turn any page in any book, and it's all the same.
And what about the Times?
The Times sells 250,000 newspapers in the city of New York. That's less than the Post.
That's
and
incredible.
it's less than Daily. It's incredible, and there's a very, very good reason for it. They want to put Jersey news or Connecticut news into a New York paper. Good luck to them. Go to Jersey.
It's mostly national and international. It's not even national. It's basically international news, right?
I don't trust
I don't know what
though.
it is. Yeah.
I'm down. Trust comes in here. When I see a story that has no attribution, they have a long quote about some purportedly important matter out of Washington and or foreign, and they don't say who said it, then I don't read. I don't
Let's
believe
talk
it.
about sources, because certainly that's been talked about a lot. And the
What's that,
shield law. What is it all? I don't understand it. So could you just explain it to
I
me?
don't want a shield law.
What is a shield law?
I don't know what it is. and
Well,
I'm
what do
never
you
gonna-
think it is?
It's politicians trying to butter some reporters by saying we put in a law that protects you from being questioned about your sources. I mean, I don't want it. If you can make a law to protect me, then you can make a law to attack me. I don't want any law. Let me just make my own way. If it comes to sources, Is that the best they could do? They got to go make a deal with somebody that'll put the... Anybody telling you something, it's got an interest in getting it in the paper.
Right.
So what you should do, I mean, the proper way to do business is to tell a person, believe me, from my heart, I am not going to reveal this. I'm not going to put in that you told me. I would never think of doing such a thing. Now, don't worry about it. Now, what was the other thing? Then they tell you, you get everything down good. You go back and you put the name right in the lead.
But then they don't tell you the thing the next day,
They'll
according to the
be back.
reporters.
They'll be back. Have no fear. They want to be in the paper. What the Daily News used to do in New York, what it was a newspaper doing good, if you didn't meet their standards of coming up with stories for them, and you're a public official, they'd sentence you. You're out of the paper for 6 months, and anybody in your department is out. We won't have you in the paper. Your name will never appear.
So that's local news, though.
They used to come in crying, please.
So,
please
but do you think you
don't
could do that on a national
Yes,
level?
sir.
I mean, should Judith Miller have gone to prison, jail?
Well, I don't know why. I don't know what it was about. Did she make it up? There was one time a reporter, the woman went to jail for writing about Judy Garland, and it wound up in a legal suit. What was her name?
Herald Tribune. It's her daughter is on New York
Okay,
One.
all right then.
I forget. Anyway.
She never had anything. I firmly believe that there was nothing. She made it up, and she couldn't admit that it was a lie, and she went to jail.
But nowadays it seems to be that there are lots of leaks from different
Well, there always
agencies
were.
that are considered strategic and and all this kind of
There
stuff.
always were.
So you need to get things out, because certainly, it's an interesting question, because certainly you don't get the story from the White House,
No.
right?
No.
So you need to try to get a story from someplace. If somebody's going to tell you something, but if you reveal their names in this climate, then
I'm sorry. What did they tell me for? You shouldn't have told me, that's all. And
Yeah,
if
but then
did-
you're never able to really find out what goes on.
Sure you are. The others will be... The line forms to the left. They can't wait to come and tell you.
So you object to the unidentified source said.
I don't read them.
Do you ever have
No.
unidentified source?
No, I wouldn't do that. Oh, yeah, maybe dealing in crime. If a guy shot somebody, I'm not gonna turn him over to the police by saying that Eddie shot the guy last night.
So what would you say?
I'd wait. He's gonna wind up getting caught within 2 days. I mean, it just comes out. That isn't the worry. The worry is the stuff that, or the MTA, the transportation of the city of New York, with an incompetent liar running agencies.
All right, I don't.
Well, you don't like that term?
No, when you say things like that, I get very nervous. I have
Why?
to go under the table or do
Why?
something. Because
That's the trouble. This country,
we want to be too polite.
this country, it is a fact that you do have free speech in America, in New York City, in Queens, every place. And it is also a fact that everybody's afraid to use it. And I think that's the trouble in Washington, too. They're just afraid of free speech. The stupid people are afraid of getting nailed with their own saying something.
Yeah.
The hell with them. I'm not paying
And
you
it's,
to
and
keep
it's
you-
also the self-censorship that plays such an important
that's
role.
right. They
Because
might not like
then that
this.
right.
The same thing on this self-censorship on this business, the television. They might not, better not say that. They might not like it. Who's they? They don't. They just say it. Self-censorship is a dangerous thing.
So if we don't, if newspaper circulation is going down,
Yeah.
250,000
The Times,
for the
but
New York
there's a reason
Times.
for the Times having 250,000 in this city. Yeah, they just had a whole thing they sent out. Today's the first day anybody ever talked about. How they write, what they write for people. They got one woman, he had 79 words in the lead sentence.
The lead sentence being the first sentence of an
Nobody's
article.
going to read that. They won't read it. John Steinbeck wrote 16 words. Ernest Hemingway, 9. And this woman does 79. And the average lead is 52 words they run in the New York Times. Well, that's to show me that you went to an Ivy League school and you're going to show off.
Oh, now we come to the
Yes.
the basic
The
prejudice.
basic prejudice is right.
Yeah, what?
tiptoe through the tulips, right, as I call them, and you get it. You get it in on purpose. You get that strain. Look at how smart I am. I went to a lot of colleges. Crazy. And they tell you nothing, and they got a lot of writing that doesn't make sense. It's bad writing. And witness this is the largest and certainly smartest city on the face of the earth, New York City. Alert. You got a paper supposed to be the greatest, and it sells only 250,000.
Terrible.
But I would say there's something the matter there. And the matter is they don't write for the smartest city on earth. They write for
So you think the quality of writing is as important as the quality of reporting?
No, it goes together. It's a whole thing. You go out and report a story.
So what are we going to do if we don't have newspapers?
You go to the internet. I think it's part of the slow descent of American minds.
Sure.
It's slow. It's going down. The white people in America, look at how they voted in Ohio. Like they voted for Bush. I remember that. That's it. That's America. It voted for George Bush. This fella cannot speak English.
Did you say in Ohio? Isn't that the question?
Ohio is my pet place.
But isn't that the questionable state that really he might have carried
Ohio?
Scotch
Presbyterian with Northern Ireland background. Bitter, bad people.
Oh, Jimmy.
Nope, that's Ohio.
Right. You have great disdain for the people in the country for having elected Bush, but
should you? The fellow cannot speak the English language.
But you can't generalize it to everybody, and it seems to me you're forgetting the people who didn't vote for him.
Not enough of them came out. I looked at that parade of the immigrants here the other day. Now that's a different story. They were about 1/3 the age of the normal protesters in this country, who are older people and
now
don't have it
didn't
anymore.
Used to be, but now they're the old people, right? Like us.
The immigrants were younger, more verve. They could laugh, which nobody knows how to do. And I could see there would be no Bush in the White House if these people had the right to vote. It wouldn't be an overwhelming victory, but there would be enough of these votes to change governments here. And that the big fight has to be to make sure that these immigrants are allowed to vote.
Let's go back to the beginning. Tip O'Neill had a lot of humor.
Yeah.
I can't think of anybody in the Congress that has that kind of humor.
No, I don't see humor at all.
Yeah. So
Charlie Rangel a bit from uptown. He's got a little...
Teddy Kennedy every once in a while.
Once in a while. Hello, boy, he's got tough rows. Yeah, what else?
It's a disappear. I mean, people take themselves in the world so seriously. Can you look at Bill Frist? Is there anything charming about him?
He's a jerk, huh? Really?
I don't know.
Yes, I do.
So what are you doing now that you're? What makes you write a column? Every once in a while, you decide to write a column.
No, just when I saw the Mexicans walking, I thought that was good, because I had done a book based on them coming into New York and getting killed in accident, but that border, when they have to sneak under.
We've been there.
I mean, it's
seen
and
it.
They say that they're going to put a wall up from San Diego to El Paso to block.
Yeah, these are supposedly I mean, you used to think you elected people to public office because they knew a lot and they were responsible and clear thinkers.
Yeah.
They're preposterous sometimes. I agree with you.
An imbecile.
And that's your word.
Imbecile. An imbecile would say you're going to put a wall up. Have you ever been there? I mean,
it's a good public project. You could employ a lot of people.
You employ other. We're in the town of what was it? It wasn't Laredo. Was the other?
What's something? All right. Now we're going to display our memories. Anyway,
They have a wall there. It starts at the immigration station, and it goes up a hill, and the wall goes up, fence goes up the top of the hill and stops. At the top of the hill is a house. You saw it with a porch, and the Mexican fella sitting on the porch, if he gets a little bored with life, he just swings his legs over and drops down into America. Nogales is the town.
Yeah.
And then the mailman comes up to me while we're standing there, and he's from McAlpin, named from the McAlpin Hotel.
That was really a
family.
funny thing. Here we are in Nogales, Arizona, which is right on the border of Mexico. We're in this little thing next to the wall. There's a mail truck. We're a little lost. I said, let's ask the mailman where we are or how to get out of here. And you go up to the mailman and he says, Jimmy Breslin, what are you doing here? And the guy is from Queens. All right, go on. Oh, it's
So
funny.
he says, look at these houses around me are loaded with people right now, silent. The minute nightfall, they bust out and go and get buses to Los Angeles or to Phoenix. They're on their way. But to think you could stop people from coming over that wall, he said that a friend of his was standing there and a guy was on top of the wall, said he had a baby. Could you hold the baby till I come down? He lowered him on a rope. The guy was holding the baby. The fella, who was the father of the baby, obviously, he jumped and broke his leg. So he couldn't, they had to cart him off to the hospital and left the guy with the baby. And they didn't know what to do, so he took the baby home. And I mean, that's the stories you would get more than anything. What is it in Douglas, Arizona? They taunt the Border Patrol, and the Border Patrol rushes up to the fence that these Mexican kids are hanging on, and then they just jump over and they laugh.
Down a little bit further, or they go back.
Yeah.
So we're almost at the end of the program. We haven't talked about what you're doing and spending your time. We haven't even talked about gangsters, which are now playing somewhat of a part in your life. And
well, very quick. I went to the.
No, you can't because we have goodbye.
Oh, yes.
So maybe you'll come back another time and tell us about what you're doing.
About Burton Kaplan. They would pay me to come back here.
All right. And you're writing books. That's what you're doing. And you wrote a play.
I got a play.
And you're very happy.
I don't think you put on this earth to be happy, so let's not use that word.
The difference between us.
What?
Say something nice because we're finished.
Why nice?
All right. Thank you, Jimmy Breslin. Is there any people you'd like to hear and topics you'd like us to explore? Please let me know. You can write to me at CUNY TV, 365 Fifth Avenue, New York, New York, 10016, or you can go to the website at cuny.tv and click on Contact Us. I look forward to hearing from you.